What's going on? Move the mouse here, back in City Skylines, the town of Rockdale, episode number 24, I believe. Starting to lose track at this point. So we're going to continue on kind of fixing little things as we go, but one thing that we really need to meet is a ton of industrial demand, which we've been very happy to do with office parks. So we're going to continue and build a little office park down here. We're going to give ourselves a little bit of room off this main drag, and I'm gonna come out 15 units, and I'm gonna connect it to, where are we gonna connect it to? Let's connect it to this side street here. We'll just go straight through. We're gonna come over 12 this time. That we've got a little bit of a gap in between, and it will allow us to meet up right there. We'll even come down towards the highway a little bit. But I want to leave room to bring that up and around. Maybe that'll kind of be on the edge of our map. Maybe we'll tunnel it underneath. But give us a little bit of room to work with that highway at some point. Now, I'm not going to connect that. But we'll do this for now to kind of meet some of that demand. Let's check our water. Glad we did. We'll just fill that in, and we'll bring this down as well too. Then we'll zone this off and go work on other projects for now. So let's do this all as office. Let's go clean up those couple pieces I think we missed. There's one that we missed right there. Fortunately, those buildings are already moving in, so they won't be able to take advantage of that square. But if they ever get abandoned, wow, it's filling up quick. We'll see what that does. We'll still have some industrial demand, I'm sure. But we want to go and continue and kind of work on some little projects here. If we go back into info views, we were already on traffic. We can see that this intersection is definitely better. There are some slowdowns, as you'd expect, near any off-ramp really, but things are moving, right? It's piling up a little bit here and there, but it's not backing up onto the highway. This interchange is not particularly good. Part of it just because of how short it is. The other part because there's probably a light here that doesn't need to be here. There is, because there's no traffic around here, so you don't need the stoplights there. Those are definitely way too close to one another. We'll stop the side traffic here. You don't need intersections this close together to have stoplights. We'll put the stoplights on all the little side streets and keep traffic flowing on those main roads. That should help our traffic flow a bit. Now this one is enough of an intersection here because there's a highway off-ramp right here. There's another highway off-ramp right here. We'll leave this stoplight in place. Keep an eye on that. If we jump back into our info views, I want to take a look at traffic over here, and there's definitely some things that we could improve. We'll look at the lights over here in this part of town before we go on to our next project, which is going to be fixing this traffic up here. And I've got some ideas on how to do that, but before we head up there, let's take a quick look again at our intersections down here. So we've got a bit of a traffic jam happening at kind of all these major intersections. So let's check the health. Like, do we need a stoplight here? Probably not. We can stop the traffic. Not much coming from that direction and that direction. So let's give the right of way to this road that was backing up a little bit. We'll stop the traffic on these side streets and let this avenue kind of carry through. And then last thing down here, we can just do stop signs here. We don't need people waiting for a light to change over. Now here, this is where things get kind of interesting. Diamond interchange, again, is very quick and simple to set up. Not the best at moving traffic. We want to get people off the road, though, because that's where our backup is right now. So we'll stop the traffic everywhere else and give that traffic the right of way. Hopefully they'll be able to funnel off there and alleviate some of that. Same sort of thing here. We want to stop everybody except, let's see, how does this look down here? That's getting a little backed up. So we'll stop the people coming off this way. Not a lot of traffic coming left to right, so we'll leave that for now. And then these intersections are a little close together, right? We've got stoplights at all of these. Do we need them though? We don't. So we're gonna do the same thing around our circular city. We're gonna stop the traffic that's on the sides, I believe. But we got a lot of traffic lining up there. We'll see how this goes before we commit too much to it. But this should be sufficient. We're stopping the traffic around the circles to let the traffic flow in and out on these crossways, these, you know, the quarter of each circle here. Do the same thing here. It's an interesting intersection here created to drop the Eiffel Tower, and had to do a little T-road there. Let's just finish fixing this up, and then we're going to get on to our big project for today, was hopefully fixing some of the traffic problems over in our farming area, which is definitely a clogged point responsible for a lot of the problems. So let's take a look at this diamond intersection as well too. And again, we will stop people coming off the highway. That should be sufficient. Let everybody else roll right on through. And then here we'll do the same thing. We're going to stop the traffic on the sides and give that main drag the right of way before we check our last exit. So again, we'll stop the traffic getting off the highway, and here as well too. That should get things flowing a little bit better, hopefully. This is the last intersection. Okay. So again, stop coming off. And that should be good. That should help smooth things up a bit. That same trick here on our circle. Stop signs if you're on it. Right of way if you're on those main cut-throughs. And we'll see what that does for traffic in our circular city. But our big project today, if we look at our info views and traffic, we're up to 75% on traffic flow, which is pretty good. But this is a problem here, right? We've got a lot of trucks coming in and wanting to turn left, to turn right, or to go back out. We do have this little turnaround. Nobody's using that. But it's not a bad idea to have those in there in case there's some kind of a routing problem. So what I want to do is I want to knock this out, and we're going to have to move some stuff around here to accomplish all this. But let's pause, and let's use this same T intersection coming off the highway, but let's try and make things move a little bit more efficiently out here. Now, I have a feeling we're going to have to move our metro stop unless we can get this to work with a raised rotary. And let's see if we can cram that in here. So we're going to delete a bunch of road here. We're going to have to move a bunch of stuff around to do this. We're going to move some people out in the process, but it's going to be worth it in the long run. So what we want to do is we're going to switch to 2-lane highway. This one right here. And I'm going to go kind of right in the middle of these two roads. Raise it up. Go to our freeform tool. And let's see if we can find like kind of a 45-degree angle. Kind of like that. Let's see here. How are we going to do this? Let's do... So this is 2 lanes getting off. So let's go to our straight tool. And let's try kind of line this up. So we'll do that. Yeah, we're gonna have to move a bunch of stuff here, unfortunately. I want to see if we can get this to snap straight. Okay, let's just blow out this metro, and we will reconnect the metro afterwards and try and get this to kind of work here. So We're going to go back to our freeform tool. Oh, because those are highways. That's right. Well, let's change something up because we don't want the roads to snap quite like they do to highways. We're actually going to make these 2-lane one-way roads, because that's going to change how our freeform tool interacts with that. So when we go back into our 2-lane highways and go to freeform, now if I come back kind of at a, well, in this case, a 50-degree angle, but if I make that my snap point, it's going to make a circle for us, right? And it's going to continue that around. So it kind of knows what I want to do. We kind of want to do something like this, though this is a little tight. It's a little small. Right? We want to do like a little circle like that. We want traffic coming in, traffic going out. So let's really take a step back. Let's do this right. We'll just we'll center it as best we can, then we'll connect it up after the fact. So in this case, we'll go to our straight tool. We're right in the middle of that intersection right there, which is nice. Snap back again. Go to curved. There we go. We'll come out 10 and up 10. And again, same thing. Up 10. Over. I don't want to snap to this road. Okay. So now for traffic coming off of the highway, we'll go back to our on-ramp and off-ramp here. We'll just go to straight. Straight is fine, because we want to do basically this. We'll change our direction here. So any of the traffic leaving is going to be getting off before it congests with that traffic that's coming in. And then how do we want to connect this back up? I think we can connect this back up over here. So we'll go to curved. We'll bring it right into there. It'll allow us to zone a little bit more space. We'll connect this road up. Straight tool. And then we'll connect this road back up. So that didn't de-zone too much stuff. We're going to have to get rid of these buildings here. We're going to have to move our metro stop somewhere. But that's pretty good. And that should help a little bit with some of the traffic flow over here, because you don't have intersections, you don't have people stopping to get around each other. The other thing that we could do is we've got enough room to play over here, and the traffic seems to be moving pretty nicely. We could do another exit to dump off into this side maybe, but let's see what this is doing. Right now we have a bit of a backlog on the highway. We also have a metro station that is not functioning right now. So let's go back into our zones. Let's fix our zoning. This is all low density commercial over here. Let's find a way to move our metro stop back, and let's rezone off this in industrial, which in this case is going to be farmland. Let's see how that hopefully gets unclogged as people start coming through here and get a little bit more efficient getting off the highway. We shall see. Again, we could solve that by doing another exit over here somewhere, or over here, so that people don't even need to change highways to get into the farmland. They might come from over here. Might be faster to go over there. It might split the traffic up a little bit, but it does look like it's getting a little bit better. Now the problem is over here. So we're getting backups, but they're happening at different spots now. So let's give the right of way to those people that are coming off the highway. We'll have everybody else stop, because that's kind of a hairy intersection right there. We may have to take a look at that a little bit more. We may remove that route up there, because see, I've got farmland up here. residential in the middle, farmland over here, and they're all trying to get through these streets down to that rotary. Maybe what we could do is kind of disconnect these a little bit. So what if we did this? What if we delete this one block of road? Let's call it 2 blocks of road. And let's connect this up a little bit differently. So curve tool will come through here. We could rezone this if we wanted to. And we'll connect them up here instead. Now let's see if we cause any power problems there. We did have power lines running at one point. Looks like we don't need them anymore, because all this is still connected through here. And let's zone off maybe a little bit on that road, possibly. So all those trucks are now routing back around to get off the exit they would have gotten off if I hadn't deleted that road. But hopefully that will help speed things along. It's definitely helping with our backup on the highway here. Let's fix our metro. So where do we move the station to? That one's a little close over there. We could put it right here next to the highway, and we could put another one kind of up central over here. We don't really have a route up here. Let's do that. Break out our tunnels. Connect these back up. We could hook this in totally differently because of the way that this is now oriented. This new station. Let's do that. Let's connect this up totally differently. We'll pause it because we're going to delete those lines. So now, rather than come in from the other side, go to our curve tool. Now you want to try and minimize these really tight bends, but we don't have a lot of overlap down here, so this should be okay. We'll hook in that way. I could have done this by kind of reorienting this station against this other street too, I guess. That would have been a lot more efficient. In fact, let me show you, just in case you're wondering. So let's say we don't want these routes snaking all over the place like that. How do we fix this problem? Because we're fixing problems here. We don't want to cause new ones. It's just me being lazy about the pipes. So let's delete all this again. And it would be much more efficient if this was kind of rotated, right? It would be more in line with the other stations. So let's go grab that station, and we're going to orient it to a different road in this case. All we're going to do is we're going to say move. We're going to drag it down to there. So we really haven't moved the coverage at all, right? It's still in the same spot. But it has a drastic impact on how we connect our tunnels here. So now we can come at this much more linear. We'll still curve it a little bit. But that's much tighter, and now we can do the same thing coming over here, is we can start to curve up a little bit. We can do that, and if we want to kind of smooth the corner out, we can delete the middle segment where they connect, and then just kind of redraw it, and it gets a little softer every time. Do the same thing down here. We'll curve it into there. And that's a much straighter route, much less snake-like. And then we'll start to come up here. Same sort of thing. We can just kind of connect into that station that way. And then we could loop this around. So we can do a little farmland route. And we can just kind of connect this back into here. So let's take a look at what metro routes survived, if any. It looks like there's a metro route there that's kind of broken. So we need to highlight that route and delete it. That was the only station, though, that didn't get moved. So let's do a little route around our farmland, so people can get around here if they need to. And then we will connect this back up into the circular city on the other side. So here we'll do a new line that goes down to circular city and back. Good enough for now. And then they can get off that train, hop to the next train. They can get on routes. Ooh, I deleted my routes into the main city. So at some point we will decide on kind of a central stop over here, but let's get people connected back over here. Let's bring them all the way into Kent Park, which is, again, a busy station, but it means less people jumping around, and then we'll just do that to complete it. So now if you needed to get to the farmland, you can get down to the circular city, which will take you into Walnut Hills, Kent Park, Middle Heights, and that can get you up to the Hamilton district. One of the next things we need to do is start configuring lines to connect from north to south, which we don't have. We could redo the tunnels down here, so there's a little bit of interior coverage. We don't have any coverage over there. We don't have any coverage over here. So there's definitely a lot of metro projects that we could be working on. But I think this is a good first step, was kind of reconnecting things down here. There's still a broken line in there somewhere. So let's look for any of those floating icons, because there was still a metro stop there defined, even though there wasn't a station. Looks like we're good, though. So hopefully we are good there. This is a new problem that we had not run into before, so let me show you this. Again, if you don't know what these pop-ups mean, I want to cover these in the next how-to, but how to find out what they mean is you go to your inspector tool, you click on a building, and in this case, there's not enough raw materials. So this is a fish stick factory. It's trying to bring in materials. So if it doesn't have stuff on map, it'll bring in stuff from the highway. And usually if you have this happening, you'll most often see it with like a coal or a oil fire plant. If there's not good roads to get to it and it can't supply it with coal or oil, you don't necessarily need those resources on your map. If you bring up your info views and resources, which is right here, you can actually see where oil and ore are. And we've got some pockets of ore, obviously good farmland here. We've got pockets of forest, which is a fire hazard, unfortunately. We should, we haven't put in a helicopter station for the fire department, but that could be really devastating, especially to these residents over here if this catches fire. But if you don't have certain resources, that's okay. You can bring them in from outside. We haven't had this problem yet, though, where it was trying to get resources and not having enough. Hopefully it looks like traffic's okay. Let's double check our highway routes. Coming from the highway this way, getting off into the city, highway that way, getting off into the industrial area, going straight into the underpass here, which comes out over here for our cargo station. So it looks like the routes are all functioning right. I'm hoping that this won't become an issue. It's telling you that there's a problem, but it should be able to resolve itself. If it doesn't, those buildings will eventually abandon. And if we see abandoned buildings here, we can start to look at that a little bit deeper. But for right now, we should be okay there, but it's something to keep an eye out. Now, we moved some people out over here earlier, and you can see that now we're getting the not enough workers. Again, if we go to inspector, click on a building with a pop-up, that's a not enough workers problem. Now, some of this is just what are people willing to do. We have a really well-educated population, which tends to prefer commercial or more especially office jobs, which is why we've got so much office square zoned out across our city. I mean, most of this downtown area, half of it is office park, right? We just redid that. Office over there. We've got a little office park down here. We just created a bit of an office park. So it's by far the most popular zone for a well-educated staff. Well-educated population. It's by far the most popular zone for a well-educated population. We'll empty this while we're here. But we're having, we're having little hiccups out here and there. We're having growing pains. We're, seeing not enough customers, not enough workers. Eventually, hopefully, there will be more residential demand. We can move some more people in. We're at 109,000, so working our way back up to the 125 peak I think we were at. Let's see if we can actually see that in city info. Population changes. So we moved a ton of people out back around, what, 2036, when I started changing all that down to lower density residential in the initial area of our city here. You can see it's on the mend, though. It is back on the rise. We were at around 125,000, I think, definitely 122 something. Looks like that's probably more correct based on the graph. But we're getting back up there. So we're trending up. The only time we've really trended down heavily was when I specifically moved people out. So that's a good thing. We're seeing healthy growth, and if you're in, ooh, there we go, some abandoned buildings. So we will have to keep an eye on this. Let's check those out and bulldoze those. Make way for new industry to move in. They might potentially be using different resources. Hopefully that does not become a problem. If it is, now you can look at, again, you can look at the buildings. And it's in the red now for not enough raw materials. One thing that definitely could be affecting that is this, right? Because some of the goods come in from the trains, which are absolutely backlogged coming into the city. So let's fix that. Let's fix some of that right now. We're not gonna solve all the problems, but you can see there's a terrible line of trains coming into the city. Again, we know that because of right-hand traffic, or if you're in the UK and you have the left-hand traffic switch on, for example, the trains obey the traffic rules. So these that are on the right-hand track, on the two-way tracks, those are trying to go this way into the city. And then these over here, again, are trying to come into the city. And they're all kind of getting stuck because of this cross network that I've got right here. And this splits for the commuters and then for the cargo. So let's see if we can make this two totally separate train tracks and at least reduce that problem. So let's see what we can do here. So let's rework this quite a bit. And we want to do this let's do this on both sides. So let's look at the line coming in. We'll just blow all this away and kind of rethink this here. So this route, this train route, as you can see, it's a completely external route. We've got trains waiting off the frickin' map here. It's ridiculous. But this is coming in and it's not touching any stations. It's just a train route that's coming into industry. And then maybe going back out to the outside world. So let's do exactly. Let's give them what they want and just give them a route to get to the industry. We will reconnect our underground tunnel after the fact. For right now, let's worry about this one problem. So let's take this train. Let's move this statue. Let's do that to give us some room to work with here. See where we can cram them in. Down here for now. We'll move it back later. So let's get our train tracks out and start to try and resolve some of this. So from here, so this is going to be industry only and external only. We'll go to curved. We'll hook that up, assuming it lets us. like that. Now, getting out of here, let's do the same thing. Let's disconnect this for now. So a quick little side note here. I added this in after recording the episode, but I wanted to point out that this right here was the problem with the train tracks that I was having. So you can actually see that because I tried to keep things a little bit too tight, I've got kind of this T intersection in the railroad tracks. And basically what happens is the trains are blocking each other. So the one that's kind of stuck on the left side of the screen, the left side of the T intersection is blocking the one on the right side of the T intersection, which is then blocking both tracks. So basically you can avoid the problems that I ran into by just simply making those T intersections a little bit longer, long enough so that a train can sit on that leg of that T intersection without kind of sticking its butt out into the train tracks behind the path. So I really could have done this much simpler just by fixing these T intersections, making them a little bit longer, a little bit more branched out to prevent the problem that you're seeing here on the screen. But I wanted to highlight that because I didn't mention that during the recording and actually found out about that after the fact. So just keep an eye out for there. It's nice to kind of keep things tight and compact, but it can cause some serious problem with your train networks. In any event, though, we still go ahead and fix it in a slightly different way by separating out the tracks altogether, which is not necessarily a bad idea, but just keep an eye out for that because it can be very problematic. All right, back to the episode. We'll redo these intersections after the fact. I want to consider my commuter traffic totally separate here. And come to think of it, we're gonna move this guy again, just wasting money, because we've got to rethink and come through here with our train tracks. I'm just doing that to kind of smooth out. You don't have to do this. I just want to kind of redesign this curve a little bit. So every time you do that, you can kind of make it curve a little bit more the way you wanted to and just kind of make it flow a little bit better. So we've got a train track now that comes from the outside world to our industry cargo and then back to the outside world. Yeah, let's rethink that. So let's disconnect it from this interior loop, which is also commuter traffic right now. And let's bring it down this way a bit. So we'll kind of run it in parallel before we kind of S-bend it and get it to connect back in this way. Too much. There we go. So that route on and off map, totally independent to the industry. And that was one thing that I had mentioned earlier that I wanted to do is I wanted to take the commuter traffic off on its own separate interior loop. I don't need people coming into the city on the train. It can happen, but we are going to drop in a international airport over here. We've already got an airport over here. And we've got well-functioning highways, so we can afford to kind of split this off. Now, what we do need to figure out, though, is how do we get this area hooked up? So this has a route for trains that come from off-map. We don't need this traffic. I'm going to disconnect this right now. That's connecting into our interior city traffic. I don't need them trying to route trains through there if they aren't commuter rails. But if you are coming from off the map and into here, you can stop at the cargo station before you loop back around, come out under here, and end up underneath in our very expensive tunnel here. This is subway. Okay, it's a subway tunnel. Okay, I was trying to figure out what that extra tunnel was. I forgot I brought a subway tunnel down here to the shipping area. Okay, so let's go back underground. Now, this route, again, we want the outside world to be able to bring in goods and services to shipping, have shipping then hop on a rail into here and bring it up north to this area up here. Now we want to connect this back up so that the exterior routes are connected to this. See if it would let us just kind of connect that right up right there. That's good. And then this also goes under here to this route, which will also allow it to connect back up to the outside world. So we've kind of we've broken our commuter rails in this process, but we've fixed the industrial. So let's go ahead and hit play. Again, we should see trains are coming in here in the outside world. There is a backlog. The other thing we could do is we could add another station, but we should see these hopefully catch up. Now, if you stop here, you can then export your goods and services out to the main line. Also coming back in, let's make sure this isn't broken. This allows from the outside world to go underneath. That should turn right. I don't think they can turn left there. Nope. And they'll come out all the way down here in the south part of our city. Do I have power problems? It said check if your power grid is divided. Okay, I do have a broken train network. I know that. But now these will come down through here. So industrial should be good. That should get caught up. I hope this line of trains going off the map eventually catches up. If we had to, we could put in a second, we could really kind of revamp this area right here and do a second cargo terminal if needed. That is an option, and support it with more train routes. Let's see if we can quickly repair our commuter rails. Maybe not totally revamp them today, but at least repair the routes. So let's see if there's any other buildings we need to turn on or off, at least empty or stop emptying. Looks like everything's good there. Okay, let's take a look back to our train routes at what's happening with our train lines here. So we know we've got this route here. It goes around the city, comes in, Kent Park, which is very busy, and then it rolls back out. Coming this way, curves under here, a little S-bend. You can stop at that station. You can stop at this station, and then we did have at one point connected over here train routes. So let's see if we can get that connected back up. So how close are we here? We've got the train right here. Let's see if it'll let us do this, because this would be the easiest way. Go on straight, and we'll go right into a tunnel. So that'll work. So let's connect this. Go to there. Let's see if it'll let us go 2 under. So we're 2 down now. We'll curve this back now. Before coming back up. So that slope is too steep because it's a really short distance. And we're 2 or 3 down now. So let's come up to there. We'll rework this connection a little bit. Not the end-all fix. I didn't mean to do that. Not the end-all fix, but an improvement for now. We had to do that that modification to our industry really bad because we were starting to hurt over there from lack of goods coming in, and I feel like a lot of it had to do with that, the train issues that we were seeing. So train tracks, let's go underground here. We could have stayed underground, but that should work. Now let's look at our routes because we still have a broken track here. 2 lines that we need to consider. Ooh, 3 lines. 2 lines, green and the yellow. Let's see if it'll let me highlight those. You let me delete them over here. Okay, we've got to hook that back into over here now. Okay, that's not helping us. So we'll do the same thing over here. We're going to continue past the road network over here. So we'll go right to the edge of the street. Do we have a park there? Of course we do. Now we have a park there. And it's nice and orange from the pollution. Okay, so back into our rails. We'll go just shy of the road. Carry over the road. Then where are we ultimately trying to get to? Trying to get to over here. So we could go outside of this one and run parallel with it. Doesn't have to be perfect. Let's go shy of that. We can't drop it down right on top of the other track. And that should connect our commuter rail back up on its own separate, completely independent, internal-only rail system. So back to our routes, and let's see if we can actually delete our routes here. It was giving me a heck of a time. I would like to delete that yellow line and that green line. Let's see if we can go to another station. There we go. To do that. So that should be no routes now. We still have this blue line. Where's the blue line? The blue line's covering the south part. I forgot we had that route. Let's rethink our routes. We'll do that, and then we will check our traffic flow and our train flow and call it quits for the day. Yeah, this route definitely needs some work down here. So let's quickly put in a route that covers the bottom half of the city. Because these stops are just kind of all over the place, I'm realizing now in retrospect. So can that connect to Kent Park? It can. And then when it comes out of Kent Park, we can come back down here and close off our route down here by the airport. Okay, so that is one route for now. We will start at Kent Park. When we zip back out, let's think it makes sense to go this way first. Come in here. Stop there. Stop here. And then back to Kent Park. So we will totally revamp the above ground rail, but I needed to fix that so that those lines wouldn't totally be broken. Let's hit play for a minute. 3 times speed. We don't have that constant congestion of trains here, which is nice. Are they still waiting off the map? No, they're moving now, which is nice. It's a pretty steady stream of them coming in, because there's a lot of demand for it, but just that little simple switch. I guess it wasn't that simple. We did a pretty major overhaul, but exterior routes connected to trains for industry. So the exterior routes now are connected to trains for industry and nothing else, right? So again, you can get in and out of the city into the cargo. From there, you could go, back out of the city. You could go down to the south, which has the train station with the shipping harbor, bringing in goods and services. Let's watch Sky Park. They park so great. Parallel park a cargo ship. Bring it in there. Come on, buddy. Nice parking job. And let's take one container off and send you on your merry way. Thank you. So we've got that all hooked up now to its own exterior routes, and then the internal route, which again is admittedly a bit of a mess, and this is not connected now, so we don't need this anymore. It's admittedly a bit of a mess, so we will work to clean that up and spread out the stations a little bit in a future episode, maybe. Or maybe it's just a project we'll commit to in the next city build to try and get a little bit better planning from the ground up. But you've got these routes that kind of bend all over the place, and it comes south to come back in to, this station's way too close. It doesn't need to be right there. Look at all the people, though. We're moving people. That's the good news. Wow. I might need to add some extra train routes. We might need a couple extra trains traveling around, because if we don't have a backup of trains, that's a good thing, but also maybe we need a little bit more train traffic to cover all these people. Let's see how many are actually able to get on this train. If it actually lightens the load, or if it looks exactly the same, that's great. So yeah, we'll want to look at trains as another route. We'll add some more routes in. We'll try and make things more efficient. Definitely this helped a lot. We've got 2 abandoned buildings, but notice that nobody now is reporting a lack of goods and services, because you got stuff coming in off the highway, which is pretty efficient. You've got stuff coming into cargo to get delivered to other places, and they're sometimes coming back in here and around, and you can see some of them are turning left to deliver goods back into the industry that they just got off the train. So things are functioning well. We have solved that little problem of not enough goods, and now that we've done that, this is one of the next things I need to relook at. Is I need to make this more efficient. There's absolutely no reason, I know, for this to be a 6-lane road. I honestly just did it to kind of carry on this flow, but you can see like nobody's using it. 5 of the lanes, 4 at a minimum, are going unused until they get down here and realize that, oh, maybe because I'm turning left up ahead, I can use that outer lane. But we could have, this is a two-way here for no good reason, just to funnel people off to the right side of that. So we need to rethink that. That's in desperate need of one of our next traffic flow problems. Since we did all this today, though, I think it's time we can move this guy back, find a good spot for him down here. If he would fit there, that would be awesome. We could tweak our train tracks just a little bit to enable him to move in there. That would be cool. But for right now, let's find a spot for him. Be right over here for now. Made one person happy. That's what we're trying to do here on this Let's Play series. Making the citizens happy one person at a time. So 109,000 to go, but that guy's happy, so that's good. That was that's all for today, though. Hopefully we solved some problems. It's, you know, a bit of a mess. We're jumping all over the place here, talking about all sorts of things, and sometimes there's a game plan, sometimes we're just dealing with stuff as it crops up. But we've made some good progress, I think. We're solving some of the issues. That's a big part of City Skylines, is kind of recognizing where your problems are. Cue the Metal Gear alert, guard alert sound whenever you see like a traffic jam like this. But that's half the battle, right? Is knowing where the problems are and then applying some sort of fix to it. Whether it's, you know, little things like a left-hand exit instead of a right-hand exit to change where, you know, people path to on the highway, providing, you know, alternative underground routes to travel the whole city under train, giving people mass transit options. There's all sorts of different things you can do to solve different problems. And part of it is, you know, what are you most comfortable with aesthetically or functionally? You know, there's always a way you can meet in the middle as well too. So hopefully you found this video informative and entertaining as always. If you stayed tuned this long, greatly appreciate it as always. But if you have stayed tuned this far in the video, I'm guessing this is not your first Let's Play in the series. Keep an eye out towards the end of the month as they announce new DLC on the consoles. We'll definitely be covering that in full with a new Let's Play / how-to series coming to the channel at the end of the month. If you did enjoy the video, likes, comments, shares help out a lot, and as always are greatly appreciated. If you're new here, subscribe for more great gaming videos and lots more City Skylines. Consider hitting that bell to get notifications while you're at it, because it's very easy for small channels like mine to get lost in the shuffle. But until the next one, this is Move the Mouse, signing off.